gender. Everyone has one. Yes, everyone. I guess unless you're non-binary. But regardless, gender is a spectrum, and with that spectrum, sometimes it can get confusing on who someone is, which is why it's always polite to ask. But what if you can't ask? What if said person is fictional and happens to also be an animatronic from the 80s that's run down and is animated thanks to the restless souls of murdered children? Well, that's FNaF for you, because whether you like it or not, a lot of these characters have a set gender, and some of them have divided the community for a literal decade. So today, I am taking it upon myself to look at every FNaF animatronic whose gender has been confused by fans and finally answer the question of what's that gender? But first, I want to make it very, very clear that gender is not at all in relation to sexual preference, pronouns, or identity as a whole. Gender is a spectrum after all. I'm not trying to offend anyone in this video, as I myself am. These are dangerous times for our community, and I'm just trying to lighten the mood in whatever way I can in this silly video about robot bears and pronouns. And canon does not always equal fanon, which is a word apparently. So no matter what I say in this video about whatever characters, anyone has the freedom to make whatever headcanons they want. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So I bet you're a bit confused by this one, but Freddy Fazbear is here first. And I know I hear you say, Jenny, Freddy is very clearly a boy. And yes, that is very accurate, thank you, Hank. But during the old days of FNaF, a theory was suggested that Freddy was haunted by the spirit of a little girl, rather than a boy. Because he's seen hiding in the women's bathroom, and his laugh is the laugh of a girl, pitched way down. But no, we know now that Freddy is haunted by a kid named Gabriel, so however you look at it, Freddy is a dude. And next is Bonnie, and yeah, this one's easy, no spirit theories or anything, people just forgot Bonnie can also be a name for a boy. So yeah, Bonnie's a guy. Okay, now, this is our first complicated one. There are instances where a character's gender doesn't match the gender of the spirit haunting it, and Golden Freddy is our first instance. Now Golden Freddy is Freddy, who is Fredbear, who is obviously a guy, but Golden Freddy is haunted by not one, but two spirits, Cassidy and the Crying Child, who I'm pretty sure does not have a name, and while the Crying Child is a boy, Cassidy is a girl. So I guess Goldie goes by whatever pronouns match whoever is in control. I guess there's a 2-1 boy to girl ratio with Golden Freddy, but calling him a boy would be an insult to Cassidy. So Goldie can really be whatever you want. She, he, they pronouns. Gender fluid, if you will. Next we have Toy Bonnie. Similar to OG Bonnie in regards to his name, but this time Bonnie looks significantly more feminine. His slender build compared to Toy Freddy and OG Bonnie, along with his big eyelashes. And while you can headcanon whatever you want, there's nothing to point towards Bonnie being a woman, apart from his appearance. So Toy Bonnie is a guy. Okay, now we have another Golden Freddy issue. The puppet is pretty ambiguous in terms of gender, and it has never really been stated what its gender is. Except it has, in the Freddy files I believe. The puppet is stated to be a he. So there's our answer. However, the spirit inside the puppet, Charlie Emily, is a girl. So what route do we go with this? Well, personally, I go the female route. While the puppet is stated to be a he, it is, like I said before, pretty ambiguous, and Charlie is in control of the puppet more so than most of the other spirits in their robot bodies. So while the actual puppet itself is a he, the character, the puppet, is a lady. The Phantom puppet kinda has the same deal. It's debatable whether these two characters are the same character, or if they even exist. And I'm not gonna bother trying to figure that out. A really weird one to talk about is Shadow Bonnie, because like, what even is it? I mean, it's clearly modelled after Toy Bonnie, who we've established is a boy, but then it's kind of also Spring Bonnie, who we'll get to later. But then like, is it a spirit? Is it just Dark Remnant? Whatever the hell Dark Remnant is? I mean, the FNaF wiki calls them a he, so I guess that's right. I have no real reason not to believe them. Okay, now we have Nightmare Own. Really only here because of the puppet, and as we established, the puppet animatronic is a male, yet the soul inside is a girl, making the puppet, in my opinion, a girl. But Nightmare Own isn't real? Like, he doesn't actually exist, and is more of a personification of death? So I guess that just makes him a he, or an it by default? I mean, his voice is pretty masculine, so I go with a he. So, Sister Location was the time when this franchise got a big upgrade. New characters that weren't just the same 5 on shuffle, voice acting, different gameplay loops and minigames, and a whole lot more queer. So let's talk about Lobbit. Now I love Lobbit, you love Lobbit. Nobody knows why, but we all love Lobbit. And our FNaF World friend here is... well, it's complicated. Lobbit has been referred to as both a he and a she in the series before. As a she more so in their first couple appearances, like in FNaF World, and then as a he in more recent appearances. They started out as a Funtime Foxy recolor with eyelashes and a more shaped waist, which obviously isn't inherently a girls only thing, but definitely leaned towards it. But after that, Lobbit was redesigned, got rid of the eyelashes, making them less hourglass, and taking away their hook hand, among a few small other things. Now, I think this is the part of Lobbit's story and design that, to me personally, tells us exactly what their gender is. And that is he/they. There is a lot of trans mask action going on with Lobbit, becoming less feminine throughout their history, and obviously being referred to more as a he in more recent media. And look, they are literally the non-binary flag colours. Like, seriously. So with all that being said, Lob is a non-binary he/they/they/them. Okay, now this is stupid. I can potentially see the confusion with Bonbon. I mean, he has a really high-pitched voice, and he's voiced by a woman, but that doesn't make him a girl. Is Bart Simpson a girl? They're a tiny hand puppet. Of course their voice is going to be high-pitched. And on top of that, Bonnet exists. The angel to Bonbon's Stitch. The make it pink and give it hips of character design. They're called Bonette, like the girl one, like Smurfette. Bonbon is a boy, this argument is stupid, let's move on. Alright, this thing. This ugly thing. I don't know if anyone is confused about this thing. It's only here because I was confused. I thought these things are boys, but no, they're girls. Which, I guess, isn't really a surprise, but I was surprised. The Biddy Babs are girls. Right, Enid. Who is... let me check my notes quick. Four different characters? Well, this isn't too hard despite our Golden Freddy situation on steroids. Enid isn't easy they, them. Not only are they multiple people, they're a mix of male and female characters blended together. Although a he, they would also be acceptable, given the Enid mask from the original Enid character, who we haven't actually seen yet, is a male. This also applies to Molten Freddy, who is now explicitly male, thanks to Funtime Freddy taking over the body. Okay, let's talk about Lure, Encapsulate, Fuse, Transport, and Extract, aka Lefty. Now, Lefty is really weird. It's common knowledge that they're a capture device for the puppet, which is why this becomes so complicated. Charlie Emily is a girl, the puppet, whom she is possessing, is a boy, and Lefty, whom the puppet is inside of, is also a boy. This is 3 layers of gender, what do I do? Okay, but in all seriousness, Lefty is a male character. Charlie semi-possessing them through the puppet kind of makes them a girl instead. So really, it's down to situation. Simply use what we have discussed about the puppet and apply it here. However, the actual Lefty animatronic is a guy. Well, I forgot that Mystic Hippo is a thing. I have no idea if they're related to Mr. Hippo at all, which is why they are here. Like, are they siblings? Are they the same person? I guess lore-wise, she came first? I think? Is Mr. Hippo a trans man? Okay, that is my new headcanon. Trans Mr. Hippo, fight me. Okay, next we have... So if you see my other 2 FNaF videos, you'll know I hate the Blob. I think it's genuinely so stupid as a concept, and I only recently just found out, while making this video, it's actually called the Tangle, not the Blob. The Blob is a fan-made name, apparently. Never mind the other character in FNaF World called Tangle. But anyway, not that I think anyone cares about this thing's gender, it's probably an it. Simply because there are just so many characters smashed into this thing that I don't think gender as a concept even matters anymore. Although it does have Funtime Freddy's mask as the main head, because of course it does, it's Funtime Freddy, he's everywhere now. Kellen Goff is everywhere, he's in my walls, help me. Now we move on to the part of FNaF I am less familiar with, sadly. The Entity, or MXES, is a digital software created to contain the Mimic. They never say anything, or are referred to by any pronouns, given that they're just an AI. They do have a more masculine appearance, given they're a rabbit, and up to this point rabbits have been exclusively male, apart from Vanny. Plus they have a Giga Chad chin. However, a mask appearance doesn't make someone a man, but in my opinion, MXES is a he they or a they them, whichever works. And next we have... Okay, no, we're not doing that. That's an overused joke. Anyway, while Secret of the Mimic has only been released recently, by the time this video comes out, a lot of people seem to not know whether Jackie is a boy or a girl. And I can tell you viewers that Jackie is a girl. I mean, it's pretty obvious. How many guys do you know named Jackie? Then again, how many guys do you know named Bonnie? Regardless, they've only been referred to as a she in official media, so it isn't hard to notice. However, I do want to bring up one point, and that's Jackie's gimmick of dressing up as different mascot characters. Now this is technically her primary function as a robot, I think, but these characters aren't just one gender, they're a variety, which can imply some gender fluidity. But as of making this, I haven't seen any gameplay, from SOTM, and I cannot be bothered to change the script, so yeah. So for now, Jackie is a she/her, although if you want to headcanon some gender fluidity or ambiguity, I would say you have some pretty good evidence to back it up. And finally, we end with a character who is still technically yet to make any appearance in a game, Spring Bonnie, first appearing in a non-spring-trapped form in FNaF World, and along with the tagline, male, female, it's a rabbit, who cares? And that is very weird. Up until this point, we knew of Fredbear and Bonnie being the OG animatronics, and all we had of them was Golden Freddy and Springtrap. Fredbear was obviously a man, and people assumed Bonnie was too. I mean, every other Bonnie has been male, again apart from Vanny. Spring Bonnie specifically was also William Afton's suit, and God forbid a man dressed as a woman. But up until FNaF World, Spring Bonnie was just assumed to be male, and this stupid tagline changed everything. I assume Scott did this as he designed Spring Bonnie in a similar vein to Toy Bonnie, with a bit more of a waist and big eyelashes, and Scott wanted to poke fun at the constant debate on his character's genders. And after FNaF World, Spring Bonnie was never really seen again, outside of obviously Springtrap and some weird monster variants and unused models, which all lack the waist and eyelashes that Bonnie had in FNaF World, apart from Glitchtrap, who kept the eyelashes but swapped their more feminine waist for a build like Homer Simpson. So while a female Spring Bonnie may have been pondered about in FNaF World, it seems that has been scrapped, and Spring Bonnie has been retroactively canonized as male. But if you want to headcanon them as a woman, that seems perfectly fine, given the weird non-binary vibe they had in FNaF World. So for now, Spring Bonnie is a boy. And with all the games ran through, that is every gender-related query I can think of within 5 Nights at Freddy's. Wait, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Wait! Introduced in FNaF 2, Mangle is a very popular character for one reason or another, but one of those reasons is for being the first canon LGBTQ character in the FNaF franchise. Well, kind of. The headcanon of Mangle being LGBTQ came from dialogue from Phone Guy in FNaF 2, who refers to Mangle as both a he and an it.
Hello? See, I told you wouldn't have any problems. Did Foxy ever appear in the hallway? They tried to remake Foxy, They thought the first one was too scary, so they redesigned him to be more kid-friendly and put him in Kids Cove. The staff literally had to put Foxy back together at the end of every shift. Eventually, they just stopped trying and left him as some kind of take-apart, put-back-together attraction. I think the employees refer to him as just the Mangle.
Whereas a custom-night menu refers to Mangle purely as a lady. This obviously confused a lot of people on Mangle's actual gender, which wasn't helped by Foxy being very obviously a man, and Mangle being the new Foxy, but just with a new pink and white colour scheme, lashes, lipstick, and painted nails, which isn't something only women can have, but are more associated with being feminine. Mangle's radiostatic thing also containing a very masculine voice. This wasn't helped by Nightmare Mangle, who was introduced later, still not having a confirmed gender. Funtime Foxy in FNaF World, who is clearly supposed to be a fixed Mangle, having a feminine-like appearance, and on top of that, Funtime Foxy from Sis Location, who was added later on, shares a very similar design, but just with more masculine elements, and being called both a he and a she in the game. And on top of that, UCN giving Funtime Foxy a deep masculine voice, and giving Mangle a layered voice, including both masculine and feminine tones.
Show times are on the hour, not a moment before and not a moment later.
I wanted to wait until just the right moment to drop in.
As well as them both being referred to using male and female pronouns. So, what is the answer? What is Mangle and Funtime Foxy's gender? Well, it's like Lobbit. It's complicated. There are two ways we need to look at this, both in terms of the actual animatronics and the characters in-game. Let me explain. The puppet, for example, is a male character, yet the spirit inside is a girl, making the puppet a female. And this kind of applies to Mangle and Foxy. Both their actual animatronic characters have a set gender, but in this world all the characters are kind of semi-sentient and sapient. They can go by any other gender. So if you want the genuine answer to this question, the truth is that Mangle and Funtime Foxy are both female. They both have every mark of a female character that matches the other female characters in the franchise. But this is no longer true, where the original intent, both by the in-game Fazbear Entertainment and by Scott himself, was to make a female character. The animatronics, especially in recent games, have shown a higher level of sapience, developing their own unique personalities and complex emotions, meaning Mangle, and by extension Funtime Foxy, have, in a sense, transitioned to having he/she pronouns, being gender fluid. I feel as if this wasn't originally the plan. Scott clearly made an oversight in FNaF 2, and just sort of ran with the joke that Mangle isn't a boy or a girl. And while we don't know his genuine thoughts on this, it has unintentionally created a queer icon for a lot of people in the horror and indie game community. So, in conclusion, what is Mangle and Funtime Foxy's gender? Well, they are trans fluid, adopting mannerisms associated with masculine people, i.e. with their voices, while keeping feminine aspects, like their makeup, and adopting he, she, they pronouns. These two are whatever they and you want them to be. They can live however they please, and as whoever they please. So, thank you for making it to the end of the video. That is all the characters I can think of who have some sort of gender query. If there's more that I've missed, make sure to comment them. I might respond, I might not, I'm kind of stupid. But maybe, why not consider subscribing to see more content from myself in the future? And with that, I've been your host, JennyBot. And this is me, shutting down. Happy Pride Month!